ghost hunters. What kind of that?
Okay, cool, yeah. You guys are like Statler and Waldorf. It's in a good way. So yeah, I went and spent 2 nights on the USS Hornet in San Francisco Bay, which is apparently the most haunted ship in all of the Navy. I was going to say Army, and that didn't sound right. So I think it was crazy great, but I wasn't sure what to expect, and I wasn't sure. I had known the guys. The reason why you see a lot of crossover is that we all spend time at events together. You know, like at the press and promotion stuff. So I knew Jay and Grant for forever, and we'd always, when we'd be in New York for the upfronts, we'd all go out drinking, and Gates was there too. He's always there. From Destination Truth, Josh Gates. He's a good friend, and they're all, like, we just hang out because we're always going, this is a weird company to work for. You know, so there's a bonding element. So, and they actually didn't want us to do it. I believe someone said no initially, but I guess it's Pilgrim is the company that makes Ghost Hunters, not Sci-Fi. So so nobody could actually say no and stop it. So we did. Just great. The bosses love it when you do that. They're so into it, Jay and Grant. Like they don't really wait for the cameras sometimes, which the producers don't really like. But they're like, whatever, we gotta do what we do, and they run off into the ship with all their gear. So it's really funny to watch that. But it's a scary thing. It's you're in the middle of a ship and the lights are off and. You know, and you're trying to talk to ghosts. It's a weird thing to do on a Saturday. I mean, it was great. It was really cool. We had a long discussion, or not, with some sort of entity, or not. It was weird. It was apparently a ghost that was talking. I was like, all right. My brain can't process that. Nice to meet you. Yeah, you be polite. That's what I know. I was raised properly. That's sort of what we did, I guess. I guess the guy worked in the kitchen, the ghost. We asked him a lot of questions. He had time on his hands. It was a good time. Yeah, next question.
I've never seen an episode of Ghost Hunters, but now I cannot wait to see this. I really can't.
And the funny thing was, it did so well for them in the ratings that all of a sudden I was like, we want crossover! We want everything! And so I had to drive myself to San Francisco to do it. From Claudia, from where I was there, he gets flown to Chile. Oh, that's fair! Alright, whatever.
They'll let you do it, but then you have to crash through the plane wall to get in.
Yeah, right over here.
Okay, so on the show, did you have like a favorite actor or actress, and which character did you like the best?
Well, we all sort of got along. So, I mean, some of the funniest, the guys all got along famously because we did a lot of our work together. Obviously, I got along with Salli and Eurika. I got along with everybody, to be honest. The sweeter relationships were definitely like Jordan and myself. She played Zoe because I started working with her when she was 13, and so to be a part of her life as she grows up and tries new things as an artist and now she's 21 and it's a weird careful with your phrasing. It's for a man of my age to be friends with a teenage girl is uncommon. So it was a really sort of sweet relationship to get to know this teenage girl and have her become a part of my life. And I'll call my girlfriend. I called her the other day, and Jordan's over at the house. I was like, what are you guys doing? I was just like, oh, she's taking pictures of me. I was like, okay, that's weird. She's very artistic, so she likes, but we're all very, very close. And the person who's the most different from the character has to be Eureka, who plays Lupo. Eureka is the biggest dingbat you've ever just the goofiest weirdo, she's usually like 10 minutes late for work or something like that. It's not a big deal because she doesn't wear any makeup. Like, that's Eureka when she gets to work. She gets to work, she goes, sorry, man, puts her hair back and things like, good to go. And that's Eureka. Like, I was like, why are we late? She's like, I need a Tupperware. I was like, oh, that's great. Like, lie. Like, learn to lie. I don't want to hear that you were looking at Tupperware. It's my favorite word.
Did you spend more time in the chair than she did?
No. I don't wear my, this is all, I got one gear, it's that. So, yeah, you can pretty it up as much as you want, it's not gonna get much better.
Wait a second, are you in a Jack Carter costume? Is that a Jack Carter?
It's actually a Joe Lupo.
Yeah, whoa! Yeah! Well chosen. No, Eureka, I mean, the camera just loves her. Just loves her. I thought, you guys think so? Like, super pretty girl. Yeah, and a weirdo. Like, just the funniest. Because she's like a cartoon character. She'll bounce from voice to voice to voice and be like, she's always jumping and moving, and then she goes into character. She's so mean. It's fun to watch. So, thank you.
Right back over here.
Hi, I was wondering, did you ever think that one of the theories in Eureka could be possible?
They're not.
That's why they're theories. They
Oh, it's a documentary. No, it's I'm sorry, can you take that?
The theories, like any of the theories, the possibility of a force field.
Sure.
They're possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, probably not exactly in the way that we represent them, but I mean, it's funny to see, and there have been many panels on this, that people who grew up watching Star Trek, you know, went on to create science based upon Star Trek. Like the guy who created the, what is it, the ion drive? Is that it? Yeah. That was good for my memory. All right. He grew up and he was watching Star Trek and said he wanted to, was it? Cell phones. Take that. You know, so I believe it absolutely. I think the human mind, there's the people who can actually make it happen, the scientists and whatnot, and then there's the people who can dream it up. And I don't think they're unconnected. I think that part of the brain is the same thing. Some people can't dream it up, but the second they see it on television and whatnot, they can make it happen. And I think that's the amazing thing about our species, is that for as much as we want to pretend that we're individuals and individualistic, we all work as one at the end of the day, and everything feeds off everything else. That's where we get the community we have and the world that we have. So absolutely. Thank you.
You just hope that when they are building it, it doesn't go horribly wrong and try to kill everyone.
Oh, it'll go wrong. That's what my job is. Like, someone's got to jump in front of the truck. Like, you can't build it, you can't make it happen. You sort of got to throw the body. Like, it's what we do.
Crash test dummy.
That's what Canadians are for, right?
Only the ones from Manitoba.
Hi, Colin. Huge
Hello.
fan. I hope this doesn't make anyone in this room feel old, but I grew up watching your show with my dad. So, I haven't really...
Apparently it did. Just so you know.
Youth is wasted on the young. Sorry. I haven't really looked at many of the fan theories, so I don't know for sure if it was ever confirmed or denied. But something we've always kind of speculated and been curious about is, was there ever a time that there was talk of Stark coming back?
Yeah, I'll get into why he left. Ed wanted to pursue, you know, movies and production and things like that. He's actually a producer on a movie that's coming out, or they're going to start shooting soon, with Andy Cosby, who created Eureka. So Ed wanted to go. So it's hard to get him back. But I mean, I've known Ed for a really long time. Ed was, I was there on a job that I got fired on. I'll tell this story. So I did the American version of Coupling. Where are you guys going? Oh, it's not a bad story. Oh, come on, whatever. We'll talk later. It's cool. So I did the American version of Coupling, which is done by Stephen Moffat, who does Doctor Who. He's a phenomenal writer. He's probably my favorite writer. What he can do with a script is stunning. Except for Tintin, which wasn't great. He'll see this. I'm in trouble. So we were with that, and Ed got canned off the show, which is common in Hollywood. You get miscast, and you find it out 2 or 3 days in, and we've all been fired at one point or the other. And no one would stick around. Like we found out that like, oh, he's gonna get. Everybody bolted. Like cockroaches across the floor, right? Like light was on. Everybody's gone. So I was like, well, that sucks. So I hung out, and that was, I guess, when we first sort of chatted. Way back in the day, we sort of walked into his car and we were laughing about it. And so we were always very, very close, and still remain close. I still see him all the time. But yeah, I love the repartee that he and I had, because he loves to make fun of me. It's sort of his favorite thing in the world. And he got cast as someone who makes fun of me, so he was so happy. Yeah, so there was talk, and we got him back for a couple episodes. You may have been too young to remember. Not
that young.
But we wanted to get him back as often as we could, and anytime we needed him back, he'd come.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Right back over here.
Hey, I've always been fascinated with Cerra. Could you sort of explain that?
Sure. Like how we shot it? Or just...
Like the idea behind Cerra.
Okay. The Cerra was, I believe, taken off of a military bunker called Brad, is I believe what Cerra was initially, and Fargo repurposed Brad to become Cerra, which was going to be this house that would talk to you and all this stuff. And have, depending on what we needed in the episode, be able to do all sorts of new things, as writers do. I can look into your blood, can't you, Cerra? I guess the fun thing about shooting Cerra was that it was always had to live in one take, because there's no one to cut to if it was just me inside the house. It had to live as one shot, because you can't cut to a wall, you can't cut to a speaker. So that was fun for me, to see if I could make it work. The tough bit was they designed a set, just get back to set deck, and the people who designed the stuff maybe incorrectly. Do you know how many reflective surfaces there are in Cerra? Like with the glass and the banisters and all that stuff. So because it's me in the room, every director gets on set and he's like, wow, it's one person in a room, so we're gonna spin around like this, and the camera guys are sort of looking at it going, well, how are we gonna, because when a camera moves, it's not just a camera. It's the camera, it's the guy pulling focus, it's the guy pulling cable for the camera, because it's HD, it's the boom guy who's got like the giant boom, holding it like that, and they're all dressed in black, or like they have black duvetine sort of taped to their front. So there's a football team that's sort of moving, you're having a quiet moment at home going like, I wonder what I'm gonna do with my life. And there's this group of people going, as the camera moves across the front of you. So, trying not to see reflections in the back. The best it got with that room was they needed to do a split, which is the boom guy goes in one direction and the camera goes in the other. And they all cut, and at the end of the take, Jason, the boom guy, he got himself under the couch. Because he got caught out, he couldn't make it around, his cable got caught on something, so he drops to the floor, instead of booming it, he scoops it. So like this one fluid, and this is, I'm trying to stay focused on what I'm doing, I'm pouring a beer, I'm doing a thing, and I can see this guy going, oh, oh. And they all cut, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I got it, I think I got it. So there's all that stuff that goes on, and plus, because no one else can be in the room, the person who's doing Sarah's voice, who's Fargo, but that's how it was done in post-production, it's my stand-in, the guy who gets lit. And he's a French-Canadian named Patrick. So, Sarah has a French accent, he's a guy. Sarah. And that's, it's having this tender moment with Sarah. It's like, well, Jack, I don't think we should go. It's fun to work with her, but it has its challenges, that's for sure.
That voice had to be even more awkward when Sarah and Andy were
It was actually so awkward sometimes that we would actually ask someone else to do it. We'd be like, I'm sorry, Patrick, Tammy, can you do it? Would you mind doing the voice? It's getting weird. Because you start to laugh, right? Like, because some of the words in a French accent just don't come out right, casa bonita. It's like it's a French accent, Spanish language. It's weird. Takes advantage.
Obviously, with Eureka being a comedy, it relies a lot on sharp and witty dialogue, but there's also a lot of physical aspects to it and reaction shots and everything, which I guess would be difficult in front of like a green screen or anything. How do you psych yourself up for like the Carter scream of terror when you're hanging from a dangling house?
The funny thing, like when the first time I did that, I think the reaction was, "You're not really going to do that, are you?" Like do you have something else planned? You know, was the initial reaction. I learned a bunch of stuff from Ricky, who was our phenomenal cinematographer, our DP. And Rick was with us all the way through. Was sort of the heart of the crew. Phenomenal guy. And Rick, it depends on the time of day. The serious answer to the question is yeah. Sometimes you've been shooting for 22 hours or something, and it's 6 in the morning, and you've been there since 10 the previous morning, and you just can't get the adrenaline going. Here's a trick. It's weird, but it's a trick. You've got sandbags all over the place to hold stuff in place, like the C-stands and whatnot, the things that hold up the lights and the flags and stuff. And this is awful. So somebody holds them up, and you punch it. You punch a sandbag for like 5 minutes, and that's really good for adrenaline. It's weird, but that's because sometimes you just can't get up for it. You know what I mean? It's the middle of a take, and you're sort of going, I got nothing. Like I'm doing terribly. As for the my girly screams, you want one? All right. I was as surprised as you to see it in the final cut. The only version I did, obviously.
Well, they like most in the edit, man.
Exactly. Someone in the edit is mad at me is what it is. Like, there. Never like that now. But those were really fun to do. And I think as the series went on, we got more confident. Or I'll speak for myself, I got more confident with doing zanier stuff. I learned where that line was better that I was talking about earlier, like what I could make jokes about and what I couldn't. And the more I really lasered in on where that line is, the zanier I could go because I knew I could make it back. And so I think that, like any job, you get better at it the more you do it. So the latitude I got to do that sort of stuff, I was really grateful for.
You came up as an improv comic, and spent a lot of time on an improv TV show in Canada. Was dialing that part of your performer back during the first bits of Eureka? Was that a harder process for you?
It was actually the opposite, strangely. Because I've done so many years of improvising, once I got a script in my hands, I sort of thought that was the Bible. I was like, well, don't change it. Someone wrote it. I'm used to making stuff up. If someone actually took the time to type it, that's hard to do. They must super mean it. So I better learn it and not change a word. And so in the beginning of my career, I went down with the ship a lot more than I should have, because instead of fixing stuff or sort of relying on my own instincts, I would defer to the script. Whatever the script said, I did. And I learned that that's actually really not very good. And in this day and age, if you're dealing with a movie where they've taken years to write the script and it's its own thing, that's one thing. But if you're dealing with network notes and studio notes and writer's notes, sometimes it takes the actor to get it, and you sort of go, okay, I see what this was at one point, let's bring that back. So you almost do a disservice by not changing it. You're more respectful to the author by changing the notes that got thrown in there. And I know you guys know the notes. The notes that I'm talking about are like right after a commercial break, where the characters are telling each other things that they both know. We better stop that giant thing that's coming. Yes, and you're having problems at home. In 2 lines of dialogue, and you're like, that's atrocious. Could we shake that up a bit? So that's the network note, not having any faith that the audience can follow things. And they don't. They always are like, well, what happens if someone tuned in at the commercial break? They won't know what's going on. And that's always their thought. Whereas I think increasingly in a Netflix world, that's not a problem. Because people can follow, people watch it all the way through. So